meeting is being recorded.
Okay. All right. The Robot Report's a real good resource for robot news. I'm going to paste this into the chat for the folks online. And of course, this will be available through the mailing list eventually. Let me share my screen here. Yeah, so X1 Technology acquires Kind Humanoid. Kind is one of our own. Christoph gave the presentation a couple of months ago, and apparently he's been acquired by 1X. These are Silicon Valley folks. I put the link in the chat for this. Let's watch this video just a second. Oh.
Imagine a robot that can reason.
Can you hear that?
Imagine a robot going beyond mundane tasks. And the system
we hear that.
Is the audio coming through?
Just fine, Cam.
Personal healthcare provider.
Hello, my name is Olympia. I'm your doctor for this visit.
I feel awful.
A seamless medical experience from check-in to treatment.
But I see you have a rash on your elbow, which is unusually warm.
Oh, yeah, I got bitten by this little bug thing in Yosemite a couple weeks ago.
Providing precise diagnostic care based on deep health research and often beyond human capability.
Did the bug look like this?
That's exactly it. How did you know?
The bullseye shape of the rash on your elbow, as well as your fever and muscle aches, indicate you're suffering the early symptoms of Lyme disease.
That doesn't sound good.
Fortunately, I can prescribe and provide antibiotics, which you need to take twice daily for 10 days.
And that's it?
That's it. Your symptoms should clear in 20 days.
That sounds great.
You didn't have to come into the office for your recovery checkup.
Yeah, I know, but...
All right, you get the point. Regardless, I put the link in the chat there. So the news is that these guys, and this guy gave a present. Like I say, this guy gave a presentation here. Must have been 2 years ago. These guys were acquired by what is it? 1X. So these guys.
Yeah.
Now that's not creepy at all, huh?
Oh, Tinko.
Now nobody's missed. Yo.
Both of those companies were at the Humanoid Summit. That was in December. So maybe that's how it happened.
Yeah, interesting. We're living in interesting times, aren't we?
Very interesting times.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, good for him.
Well, yeah. So that's is it 1X they're calling it? Let me see. Look here again. Yeah, 1X. So the news is from Robot Report, and 1X. They don't mention a dollar amount. Acquires Kind, yeah, Christoph, he's a righteous dude. So yeah, it's good. What other robot news do we have out there? Anything else? Somebody want to share?
Well, I'm going to give a demo later on the new ChatGPT 4.0 capability that they've released to me. I think I talked about it in my weekly meetings. I don't think I've talked about it on the regular meeting yet.
I guess there's DeepSeek now.
Yeah, DeepSeek is really hitting the news pretty hard, and there's all sorts of stuff, warnings about it from various sources, worrying about it can be jailbreaked already. It's been proven to be jailbreaked, and they're worried about bad actors using it. The government's worried.
Okay, hang on a sec. What does exactly it mean for a GP? What exactly does it mean for a large language model to be jailbroken?
Well, they just use that term. They adopted that term, but it means that you can get around its guardrails and have it give you instructions for doing bad things, building ransomware, building bombs, etc.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that's a big concern. It's easily jailbroken, apparently. And anyway, it's a big loose cannon, and a lot of people are worried about it.
Jailbroken to give honest information about the Tiananmen Square and things like that. Is that right?
Well, that's just actually that they use that example, and they reported it said yes, I can't give you details about that, but Tiananmen Square was a situation where the Chinese government cracked down hard and people died, and pro-democracy. So it did say all that, but it wouldn't go into more detail than that. But yes, they have to adhere by the Chinese government standards. But
I guess the news is they did it so cheaply. I don't know the
numbers. The news is they did it so the news to us that we really care about is the amazing price difference. For $6 million versus hundreds of millions for GPT Chat 4.0. And well, I guess I should add the quality and the capabilities of the DeepSeek are on par with these hundreds of $1 million systems, and it was done for 6 million. So, and then another company just today is like already over it's Qwen. This Qwen one is already saying we're better than. They're showing stats that they're equal or slightly better than the DeepSeek, and so the race is on. And they're from China too, I think. So it's
Good.
The race is on, and it's pretty amazing stuff going on, and it's open source, the DeepSeek. That's all.
You've tried it out yourself, right, Jim?
I haven't myself, no, but
I installed it. It's like Chat GPT.
Oh yeah, they also said that they suffered a denial of service attack already, and new users were having trouble getting in. Somebody's attacking DeepSeek even. But yeah, it's
all right. Moving along. Any other industry news out there? All right, let's move into club news now. So there was talk on the mailing list. Everybody's familiar with the mailing list, right? Everybody knows where the homepage is. The mailing list, Robo Magellan, Robot Block Party, but I don't think the Robot Block Party hasn't been announced yet. So we'll keep our ears open for that. And Marco, maybe a Botnik in April. Marco?
Is Ralph around? Ralph's at home. He's at home. Because I cannot do basically Sunnyvale park reservations. So
what's that? What's that again?
The park reservation, as far as I know, it has to be somebody living within that city.
Okay, so we need a Sunnyvale resident, right?
Yes, as far as I know.
All right, okay. We'll look into that.
So, okay. We found
there we go. There we go. We're here to solve problems. All right, sounds good. So maybe we'll have a Botnik in April. Who knows? Also, we'll keep an ear out for the Robot Block Party. What, you got something, Stephen?
I live in Sunnyvale.
Yeah, okay, super. Super. That's what we need. Hey, how about the speaker for February, Stephen? Give Stephen the microphone.
Let me check the messages and I'll give you a better response.
Okay, maybe Droid 1?
Yeah, I think we have a couple things that were tentatively said they were interested. So let me
super fine. Super fine. And March, of course, is our HBRC challenge. I don't even know what number it is, but you're responsible. Yes, you are responsible for, yes, you, Kwong, are responsible for a presentation in March, last Wednesday of March. This is our all show and tell meeting, so I'll be bugging you in the month of, don't take it personal. I'll be bugging you in the month of March.
Camp, you're sharing your screen, but nothing's there.
Yeah, something's there. This is my general meeting notes here.
We just see a host has started screen sharing, but there's nothing on the screen, Camp.
Well, let me stop the sharing then. Boom. How about that?
Oh,
Yeah, that works.
All right, now I've got to get my notes back up. All right. So, okay. Any other club news, club things folks want to talk about? Questions, comments, complaints? All right. I know I opened that up. Raphael, don't let that guy in. All right. Let's see here. The next section of the show is I need help with. Is there anything special out there, robot-wise, just robot problems? Somebody want to express a robot problem to this group of robot enthusiasts that tend to be very expert?
Emails flying back and forth about cameras and Raspberry Pis, stuff like that. So I actually brought 2 of my setups here, and they work. I don't know if screen sharing is enabled.
Go ahead.
I think it's muted.
Just takes a moment. No, I was too fast in the beginning. So that's actually running on a i5 Halo AI board. And
Oh, so this is real time.
this is real time. That's my finger.
Are you not entertained? That's awesome, Marco. That's awesome.
That's all local. There's a Raspberry Pi Cam 3, not quite. It's the AutoCam version of it.
So what AI are you using here?
That's the AI head. So that the Raspberry Pi Foundation says.
Oh, this is the is it Hail?
Yes.
HAIL? Okay. This is the Raspberry Pi AI hat.
Yes.
Okay.
what are we looking
Is this with that TOF camera that you sent me a link to?
No, that's next to it. We get to that. So that's the Halo force estimation. Yeah, so that's real time. More people. And it works pretty well.
Very nice.
But yeah.
All right. All right.
Okay. Then the time of flight camera on the Pi 4. It's somewhat slower in the transmissions. I don't know yet where that problem is. But yeah, that's basically my hand.
What's that? Is that showing us some kind of depth or something?
Yes.
Okay.
That's on the left side. It's basically the point cloud. So that would eventually go into ROS.
So is that Kwong getting in front of it there or something?
Yes. Something getting in there.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I see it now. Yeah. Okay. Very
Both
good.
of them running on 24/4. And was
that's a Pi 5. That's a Pi 5 too, right?
One is a Pi 5, the other one is a Pi 4. Well,
Very nice. Well, that was a show and tell. Counts as a show and tell.
What kind of data does that return? Does that give you like coordinates for all those, like the elbows and the hands and the depth of the target? Does it send back like?
now it's basically the payload demo programs. I just got them to work on Ubuntu 24.4. So all of that is designed for iOS. So it takes a little bit of translation to get it.
Pokery jiggery, as we say.
Yeah, but yes, it gives you the position, essentially the bounding rectangle coordinates and stuff like that.
Marco Walthall, ladies and gentlemen. Very fine. Thank you, Marco. All right. Moving right along. We're in the show and tell now. So do we have another show and tell?
Yeah.
Go for it, David.
So this is a small version of our 6th generation Magni. This is one of the first versions that was built. So what we've got here is 2 brushless DC drive motors on each side. These are 56mm wide brushless DC drive motors, coupled with a 12-meter LiDAR. This is a little 12-meter LiDAR on top, and field-oriented control brushless motor controller in the robot itself, which has Zeno running right down on the motor controller. So that you then run ROS2 on Raspberry Pi 5, ROS2 on the Raspberry Pi 5, and you send Zeno commands directly down to the motor controller itself. You have 2 Raspberry Pi 3 cameras. These are, are spaces for optional sonars. They're not installed on this robot. But this is our Gen 6 small robot. We're going to be releasing this in a few months' time. So anyone can get one of these things. Okay.
But wait a minute. I didn't hear a price.
$499.
Yeah.
Okay.
That includes the LiDAR?
Including the LiDAR. So
What's the price?
So we're going to release it for $499, including the LiDAR, including
$500. Don't say $499. It's $500.
Not in China.
I will hit somebody. You're not fooling me.
Come on. Next,
But that's sweet, man. That's sweet. I didn't know we were going to get a major product announcement here.
Pi isn't 3.1415, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Pi is 3.
That's awesome, David. That's awesome. I didn't know we were going to get a major product announcement here. That's awesome.
So yeah, and this one is going to be part of a series. So we've got, this is small. We've got medium, which is about the same size as the Gen 5 Magni that many of you know about. And then we're doing a large as well. It's going to be a 250 kilo plus robot with a 1,000 kilo payload. So we're doing all 3 at once. This is going to be the first one that we're releasing. Yeah, you heard it here first. It's unannounced as yet.
Wrong. Back up a
little
little bit. Let me get a good shot.
It's a
That's perfect. Right there. Stop.
But truly, you get 12 meters only really in optimal conditions, it's low light conditions. So in most conditions, it's about 6 meters.
Okay.
So we are going to include a particle filter based navigation stack on there. So that runs nicely on the Raspberry Pi. It's derived from the Lamar SLAM, but it can use both particle filter based SLAM as well as visual markers. So I don't know, many of you may not be aware, but we have a navigation stack that has both LiDAR based SLAM as well as fiducial based SLAM in the thing together, and the markers actually help prevent map drift, which is obviously, as you know, a common problem with LiDAR based SLAM. And we're just working on adding signage, and so we'll actually detect signs and use those as markers as well. So yeah, we'll hopefully you'll have a product announcement when this is more completely ready. But I had this one with me today on this trip, and
get behind the robot, and Kwon, get a nice picture. I want to get a beauty shot here.
Beauty shot, like
Beauty
this?
shot. There we go, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, like a proper thing.
What's the name of your company?
Ubiquity Robotics.
Oh, Ubiquity, right.
There you go.
Yeah, and of course, as always, it's made of aerospace grade aluminum. You can stand on it, etc.
That's a classic. I remember the time you rode. I think you rode your robot in.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Moving right along. Show and tell.
Like the 12-meter LiDAR, we have a 120-meter LiDAR that you can also put on it.
What LiDAR is that?
120-meter calibrated LiDAR. I tell you, it does make beautiful. 120-meter calibrated LiDAR.
What LiDAR is that?
Calibrated LiDAR is 1,100. So
Yeah, but
more expensive than the rest of the robot. Yeah.
Is it eye safe?
Oh yeah, it's not like it's not one of these LiDARs where where they get the range by having an unsafe laser. No, this is a very eye safe thing. So it's big, takes up about this robot. But that's what these 4 mount holes are for. It's for the alternative LiDAR. So all of our robots are going to be offered with this 12-meter LiDAR and the 120-meter LiDAR. As choices.
The box one is about 40 meters.
So the what?
The box
LiDARs.
P60.
Yeah, I mean, we've chosen a LiDAR supplier. We're working with them, right? They used to offer a 50-meter LiDAR, but basically there wasn't a significant differentiation between our 50-meter and our 120-meter LiDAR. So we're only offering this LiDAR and the 120-meter LiDAR. So yeah. There will also be additional add-on boards inside. So you have, in this model, you have up to 3 add-on boards, one of it which is used for the motor controller, but that leaves 2 more additional spaces. So we're going to have sonar as one of the boards, and then the other thing you're going to have is satellite navigation. And the satellite navigation is going to be able to provide accuracy. The spec number, if you've got GPS, GNS, GPS, Galileo high accuracy service, GLONASS, Baidu, and ground correction, you have all of it at the same time, then they specify an 8mm accuracy according to their spec sheet. We haven't yet verified that. Yes.
Yeah, so 2 questions. By the way, we're getting a report that the handheld mic doesn't seem to actually be working.
Good question.
Yeah. So first of all, what's the resolution on the LiDAR in terms of like point width on both LiDARs?
That's a great question.
And then actually, let me ask the second one. The GPS, is that indoor rated or is that just outdoors?
It's just okay. So the outdoor the GPS is outdoor only, right? But it is a dual antenna the one that we're doing first, so it can tell orientation as well. Okay. In terms of the resolution, I cannot remember the number on the high-end LiDAR. I want to say it's like 0.18 degrees resolution, which is more than our navigation stack accepts. And then the low-end LiDAR is like 1 degree.
All right. Do we have any other show and tells?
Well, a robotics that's not show and tell. I don't want to take up. Sorry, I don't want to take up too much time. But this is like, apologies. This is like personal aggrandizement. But someone created a fake Twitter profile pretending to be me to promote some sort of like scam thing. So if you see a profile that's just Tony Pratt Canis, I don't have any Twitter profiles or whatever, but if you do, it's fake. So this is just a warning that like scammers are now trying to promote robotics related scams, and they might be stealing your identity. So heads up, everyone. Yeah. Yeah, they scraped it and appear to have used AI generated content and tweets. And they said I was going to do a Twitter space with someone. And I don't know if like they did that with like someone else's voice, or if they actually happened, or used a deepfake voice. I mean, I have enough talks, you can deepfake it.
So you were saying I can't get my money back then?
No. I'll be with you. I'll sue them too.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, like sometimes might work, sometimes don't. So even the wired one has gone.
Okay, go ahead.
Too short.
I did not. No, I didn't think I was.
Yeah.
But you
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do it.
Do
Do
it.
it. Let me see it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Give him a microphone.
Say,
It's a game. Okay. How do you play the game?
You flip it on.
Okay.
Oh, that's too bright. Okay.
That's okay.
So here's a potentiometer, and you spin it to make this paddle move around.
Okay.
And you have to tap this LED button to activate the ball launching. So your goal is to keep it off the ground. And if it hits the ground, the LED changes colors. And then if you lose it, it flashes red, and that's just basically it.
Nice.
Nice.
that's really cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
And also the packaging looks really nice, like how it's put together. It doesn't look
You just buy it online.
like. Okay. But when you put the stuff inside of it, it managed to make it fit. Because I did it. Nothing. Stuff.
Very nice. What's your name?
All right. Any other show and tells?
I do, but it's definitely on the low price range. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so I'm doing a library talk at the Santa Clara Library for 4th through 8th graders. So I'm bringing the humanoids and other stuff. And so I designed an activity for the kids to do. So I designed this really small one with the price point of I guess $6. And it uses this Raspberry Pi clone. So I think that ends up to be $4 a piece, and then the servos are, micro servos are almost $2. So then you have the 3D printed packages, and then you can it's modular, so you can add and select, so people can customize it into their own little robot. So it's kind of it's neat with the Raspberry Pi Pico. Then you can update the programs and they're all saved in there. So hopefully that will be a little easier for kids to take home and experiment with the different programs that are loaded on here. Hopefully, and it also comes with a RGB light on board too. So I made a little through hole in the design to let that be part of the experimentation package. So yeah, cute little tiny design here, 3D printed.
Very cool. Thank you very much. Today, any other show and tell? I've got a quick one
Yes.
here. let me just get this one in, if I may. I've been working with a group called HackerBot. Ian Bernstein did the presentation in October. I'll put the link here for the. He actually gave us a password to get into the HackerBot store. Let me just drop in there real quick.
Camp, there's nothing on your screen.
Thank you. Yes, I am sharing my screen. You're talking about right now?
But it's black. There's nothing there.
I understand. It's black. I need to type in the password. The password's HackerBot. Okay? And this is
Still
how you
not
get
seeing
it.
it, Cam.
You're not seeing my screen?
No. It says host has started screen sharing. Double click to enter full screen mode.
All right, thank you. Let me restart it.
Oh.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm seeing now.
Okay. This is a HackerBot. You can get into it with the password that I gave you there.
No.
And basically, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you. Okay. So I got the basic HackerBot kit. They're making an AI head, and they're making a arm, and we got bi-weekly meetings on every other Thursday. It's a wonderful group. So I've got Hacky here. I'm building the smart table, of course. This is the HackerBot Lite. It's basically a bot. It's basically a robot vacuum cleaner with a LiDAR, and some of us are Rossifying it. But I'm put a tray on there, and I've made the tray round. Out of the box, it makes this map, and they've got XYZ coordinates that you can send it to. But like I say, we're gonna Rossify it because we've got the debug port, and we're able to get the ODOM and the LiDAR scans. So it makes for a good project. Here, I actually eat off of it. Here's a video of it. It actually has a hard time, struggles with the hardwood to carpet transition, but it actually eventually figures it out and gets over. There it goes. And here it comes back to the recharging station. And of course, some of us mockers are working on the mock turtle bot, and I've got this guy's Smarty too. And this is an actual physical robot. I'm using RViz, RViz 2, and he's out here, and I can navigate into the kitchen. It's got a camera on there too. Let's get the camera going. We have a Ross discussion group on Thursday. It's got a little delocalized here. Let's see if you can make it through. This is the navigation stack here. This is telling us what's going on. It's actually into some recovery behaviors now. I'm going to reset the pose. Let's see if I can get him going. Gotta love live demos. That's enough of that. All right, let's get back to it. Let's get back to our meeting here. Are there any other show and tells? I think somebody else had one. I don't see Brian Higgins online yet. Do you, Thomas?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are, Brian. I didn't see you. All right, Brian Paw. Hang on a sec. Let's set this thing up right. Are there any other show and tells this evening? Going once, going twice. Okay. This evening we have 3 presentations, one from New York, one from Southern California, and the last one's going to be from Alabama. Brian is a longtime member, and he's going to be giving a presentation on LiDAR sensor-aided navigation smart cane for the blind. It'll be a short presentation, and then after that we'll have another mini presentation, if you will, by Thomas Messerschmidt on robo navigation via sending photos to a large language model, and then finally follow up with Sergei Grichine. I apologize for butchering the last name, but he's gonna advocate for ROS 2 as the easiest way to program robots. So stand back, heavy lifting, folks. Brian, without any further ado, like I say, Brian's a longtime member, and we've worked together. Even the bot fact, I think we had we made a smart hat and everything, and some interesting stuff. So Brian, why don't you tell us what's going on?
All right. Well, thank you, Camp. It's a pleasure being here. And I made some notes here, and I really wanted to just do a short presentation kind of as a thank you to Brew Robotics for, well, changing my life. You know, I'm a blind veteran. I worked at a VA blind rehab center in Palo Alto, California for 20 years. And I joined the Brew Robotics group. And the story I usually tell when I give talks is I said, one of my first meetings when I went to Brew Robotics, a robotic group, I came in and sat down in the back of the room, and the speaker didn't see me with my white cane because I folded it up and sat down. And the speaker started off the meeting with, robots are blind. And I said to myself, I said, I am too. But anyways, and so because of Brew Robotics, and I think this is the key element that's very important, and I like to see the young kids in the crowd with their projects. But I think due to Brew Robotics, the smart white cane for the blind has come a long way. The VA has patented 3 of my concept ideas. One is a guide robot, and Camp helped quite a bit with that, and Ed Katz at Carnegie Mellon. My first iteration, Ed Katz took a Nito vacuum cleaner and stuck a handle on it, and he had a student write some code, and it took him from one room to the other when he closed his eyes. So guide robot, and actually somebody, Glidance, if anyone wants to look them up, has kind of duplicated my guide robot. And then the smart white cane is the next thing, and that's the big thing. The VA has helped give me some funding. We're trying to get it to market. It has LiDAR.
Is that glidance? Is that glidance that you're talking about?
Yeah, glidance kind of took my idea of my guide robot.
I'm gonna put that in the chat.
Huh?
I'm putting that in the chat.
Oh, okay. But the real idea is the smart white cane from the blind. I'd taken a white stick and changed it into, I use a LiDAR Light V3 HP, and I have an iPhone smartphone because there are 75 apps for the blind on a smartphone. So this is my real pride and joy. I even use robot wheels. Whoops. I'll have to show you another version of the wheels, but it's a robot omnidirectional wheels. And I changed the handle. This thing used to be just a white stick, and I've changed it into a LiDAR laser sensor for the blind. The other things that I've been working on, my third patent is a smart bike or scooter. And my fourth thing that's I'm not going to patent, autonomous scooter for the blind. And I've worked with 5 different college universities with engineering students, 11 different college groups, but 5 different universities, and have learned so much. Myself, I haven't learned much. I loved Camp's early Parallax or some of his little robots I made years ago. But I've been on, what?
The basic stamp.
Yes, yep. And but I've been learning all about navigation for the blind. And working with a lot of different college students, there's been some real successful things. This is on my road bike, ultrasonic, and of course my favorite, LiDAR Light V3 HP. Because there's been some failures too, but you know, this uses a LiDAR Light V3H. That's a theme going here, you can tell. And so I've learned a lot, and I think I have it all to thank. I thank Brew Robotics for all this help. Here are my robot wheels that I'm using now. And the white cane worlds and blind rehab just use a plastic nozzle, but I took and added some nice, great rolling omnidirectional wheels. So I've really changed the way that the blind, well, if I ever get the product to the market, that's the big challenge. But my message here, I think, oh, and it was great to see Tony again. I haven't seen Tony in 100 years. But, or camp as far as that goes. But so my message, I think, here is it's really great to help individuals the way you've helped me. And you may have not known it, but hopefully you're changing how the millions, and there are millions, you may not know any blind people, but there are a lot of blind people in this world. The VA has over 1 million visually impaired people, just the VA veterans, not counting other people in the US and around the world. So this is my message, and I'm not sure how my time is doing, but it's almost 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. Let me look.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Well, one last thing. I just started working with my 11th college university, and they're going to make me a autonomous or semi-autonomous scooter for the blind. My eyesight is kind of like the LiDAR sensor. So if you know how narrow the LiDAR sensor is when it gets to where it's going, that's my eyesight. But I have enough to drive a scooter, and look up my favorite scooter, Q Runner or the Q Express. They're going to turn that into either semi-autonomous or autonomous robot for the visually impaired that have some useful vision left. So those are the strides. It's been a 35-year quest to get a vehicle, and I'm getting so close to having a vehicle that the visually impaired can drive in the bike lanes down the road.
So this is a fully enclosed cabin mobility scooter.
Yes, it's like a car. You might think it's a golf cart, but it's so close to a car, and the Department of Transportation don't rate it as a car because they won't let me drive for some reason. Blind guy driving, huh? But anyways, but I can drive this.
Discrimination.
Yeah, I could drive this Q Runner down the bike lane and be perfectly legal, and I'll have enough sensors on it to let me know if there's anything, provide me with a clear path, and let me know if there's any obstacles that show up in my path, which is what LiDAR laser is all about. And like I said, I've been following Carnegie Mellon 35 years ago, built the first autonomous vehicle. It was a big van chock filled with computers and I've been watching that for many years, and that's why I went to California and joined the Homebrew Robotics Club. Thank you, Homebrew.
Yeah. You talking about Stanley, the autonomous car from Stanford?
No, that was Carnegie Mellon had one way before Stanley.
Carnegie Mellon's was Big Red.
It was a huge custom conversion van, chock fill. Stanley is another but I followed all those. And I worked with the professor, I forget his name, that did Stanley. But
Big Red.
Sebastian Thrun.
Oh, not Big. Okay, there you go.
Yep.
Did you say Sebastian Thrun?
Yes. So that's my quest.
Sorry,
Thank
Brian,
you.
can
Yes.
you find me on Facebook and add me? I have work a few things for my blind friend. So among others, I have make a hat to avoid obstacles with a stick. I didn't like the idea, but yours worked. And I have make a thing with Android. I've used Android to improve her vision. Was not success because her eyes, I could not, they were moving. But I might have things that you might be interested. I might have some things that you might be interested because I have already made them. I found the cat, the original, because I have made the, but I have cannibalized it. So I had sensors, so she won't go on obstacles. But yeah, if you can find me, and you
Well,
can.
Brian's email is on the mailing list, so
Yeah.
would you ping him? Okay.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
all right, Nico. Nico's crossed the pond there.
yeah, it's
Okay.
if for anyone that would like it, blindvet007 @gmail.
Okay,
hey,
thank you.
Brian, this is Ed Katz. I'd like to ask you about the wheels on your cane mechanism.
My
It
old
look- it
buddy
look-
Ed.
Yes, it's been many years. As you know, there are many kinds of omnidirectional wheels, and it looked like you're using Mecanum wheels. And so I'm curious as to why you chose Mecanum wheels as opposed to any other kind of omnidirectional wheels.
Oh, I had a different version, but I couldn't get them anymore from Amazon, and I switched to these. So, and they seem to work pretty well, but pretty much whatever I could get. And one of my biggest challenges is the O&M profession, orientation and mobility instructors that teach blind how to use a white stick, the holy white stick, sarcastically, I say. They don't want to attach anything. I've started attaching an ultrasonic sensor and then my smart thing, but they just want the piece of, this plastic thing that you see here. They don't want wheels, but so that's my biggest challenge is to take the professionals who teach the white cane to people into the 21st century. But it doesn't matter. These are great. The one with, I don't have, well, probably, I got a room full. Some people say it's a museum of all the iterations of stuff I have here. But yeah, I can send photos of the different wheels I've used if anyone wants to know.
So
It
there
occurs
was
to
no real
me,
particular reason why you chose Mecanum as opposed to some of the other omnidirectional wheels then.
Yeah, I've tried them. Well, I've tried 2 or 3 versions. This just ended up being the one that I could get from Amazon.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
it occurs to me that if you powered the Mecanum wheels, you could actually make the front of the cane steer to
Yes,
go right or
that's
left
what I was thinking also.
and follow a path.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Stanford did that. I worked with a few people at Stanford, where Ed is now, and they did that. But the battle with the professionals, orientation and mobility instructors, and somebody told me 35 years ago that would be my biggest challenge, and it hasn't changed in 35 years. But it's a rigid profession. No, rigid. Yeah, that's one word. But they're concerned with safety, and all they want to deal with is a white stick to detect drop-offs, manhole covers, etc. But that's my challenge. I'm just starting with a simple laser.
Yeah, isn't that what Glidance is doing?
I don't know what sensors they've got on there, but it's kind of
But I
like
mean,
my
kind of a seeing eye robot.
yeah, it's like my Nito vacuum cleaner that I
Exactly.
put a handle on.
Yeah, yeah.
And but I've talked to Amos Miller, and it's a struggle. And I don't see O&M people letting anyone use a guide robot. But that's your challenge.
Thank you for your presentation, Brian, and everything you've done for the Homebrew Robotics Club.
Thank you.
All right, let's move along. Thomas, are you ready?
Oh, as ready as I'll ever be.
Thomas Messerschmidt, ladies and gentlemen, with the robo navigation via sending photos to an LLM.
Yeah, let me share this screen.
Are you remote? Thomas, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted, dude. You're muted.
How about now? How's that sound?
I'm going to throw something at you. Are you remote?
What do you mean, am I remote?
You're not at home.
No, I'm not at home.
Okay.
Can you guys see my slide?
We see your slide.
Good. All right. This is robot navigation by sending photos to an LLM AI, specifically ChatGPT 4 Omni. I'm Thomas Messerschmidt, and I put together this presentation with a lot of help from ChatGPT. Right now, we're going to be exploring the intersection of robotic navigation and large language model AIs. So why would you want to navigate with an AI? Well, current robot systems, navigation systems, they require thousands of lines of code, ultrasonic sensors, LiDAR sensors, bump sensors. They got to locate the robot. They got to integrate sensor data. They have mapping algorithms and decision-making code. This is a lot. But what if? What if you could just ask the robot to go anywhere? So the goal was user asks the robot, and I mean verbally, to go to a location, let's say in your house, and the robot goes there, navigating by way of an off-the-shelf large language model. So the mechanisms of operation and implementation are this. I start with a robot base, and this is just a Roomba. Sorry, Camp, it's a Roomba. And
I like Roombas. I'm a big fan of the Create 3.
All right. And I've stripped it out of everything but the motors, the drive motors. And I threw an Arduino on top of that and threw a laptop on top of that with a built-in camera and microphone. And then through the magic of Wi-Fi, we connect to ChatGPT 4.0 with photo analysis. So this is the high-level flow chart. The robot sends a pre-prompt to the LLM with the communication protocol. You got to know how you're going to talk back and forth. What means what? Simple enough. The user asks, and I mean verbally, to go to a location. The request is turned into an audio file and then uploaded as text to the LLM, although ChatGPT can take audio files. That's later. The robot takes a photo of the room and uploads it to the LLM. The robot asks the LLM if it has arrived at the proper location. The LLM says, well, yes or no. Yes, hey, we're done. No, we're going to get the speed and direction that we have to go from the LLM. The LLM then sends directions to the robot. The robot relays the information to the Arduino, and the Arduino then moves the robot as instructed. In other words, the pre-prompt is set. Can you see my mouse pointer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. The pre-prompt is set. The user asks the computer through the microphone on the laptop, or you can use a Raspberry Pi, to go to a location. The request is turned into an audio file, then a text file, and goes back to the LLM. The robot then uses its built-in camera to take a photo of the room, uploads it to the LLM. The robot asks if it's arrived. If not, the LLM then sends a response. If it's at the location, of course, we're done. If not, sends directions, says go left, right, forward, backwards, whatever. The laptop relays the commands to the Arduino and then the Arduino to the motors. And the Arduino moves the motors as, and the robot, of course, as instructed. And we start over at step 4. So some of the challenges and limitations I've had with this were windows and mirrors. It had a hard time differentiating between windows and mirrors and whether there was a hallway there. And I identified to that. I've walked into more than one mirror in the middle of the night, especially those floor-to-ceiling mirrors. So I'm right there with the robot. Can't tell its left and from its right sometimes. And you know, my wife's just like that. She tells me left, turn left, and it should have been right, or she tells me right, and I should have gone straight. Well, you know. So that's just right along with people. It's not better than people. That's the point I'm trying to make. It doesn't know its own size, like a lot of people I know.
It's called body awareness.
I know. I told it was about 1 foot across, and the doorway was 3. And it said, sorry, I can't get through there. Another limitation is waiting for commands. It'll just sit there. It won't do anything. It's not proactive. So I'm going to have to come up with some extra code to keep prompting it to decide to go forward or send the commands. And then there's latency. Each photo takes 1 to 5 seconds, sometimes 15, to upload through the Wi-Fi. And that can be very difficult if you want your robot to move faster than, let's say, one of those rovers on the moon. Those move pretty slowly. Another one is bumping into walls. Everyone who has one of these robots knows all about that. Another one is busting through walls. If your robot's big enough and heavy enough, you're going to bust through the wall. Another problem I had is inconsistent results. Yesterday's results are not today's results. Sometimes I don't get the same results I got yesterday. But LLMs, large language model, artificial intelligence systems, are continuously, constantly, continually improving. What didn't work a week ago is working today. What didn't work a month ago is working this week. So what worked? Well, without any training from me, these things had a lot of training, but I had nothing to do with it. AI, and I'm talking about ChatGPT Omni, for Omni, O for Omni, it knows what a typical room looks like in a house. It knows the kitchen from the living room, from the dining room, from the bedroom, from the foyer, or foyer, if you might. It knows if it's in the same room after changing locations. It knows what part of the room it's in. It can identify many more objects than any other AI ever could. Doorways, tables, chairs, plants, people, animals, lamps, knickknacks, shelves, electrical sockets, and it goes on and on. I haven't found an end to this. TVs, it can tell you what's on the TV, what's playing. Nearly everything in any room. AI can correctly tell if a door is open or closed. Almost 100% of the time. AI can tell if its path is blocked. Usually. So a little demonstration here. I was going to record a video and found out I can't record a video on my phone if I'm using ChatGPT. So we're going to do a live demo here.
Mic test. Oh, can you hear us?
We hear you.
So, anyone have questions? Feel free.
I'm not finished yet.
Sorry, go ahead.
All right. So we're going to look at my phone and we're going to just do some real-time demoing, and it may or may not work. So let me switch the camera here. Can you read that, or is it backwards?
That's good. We can read it.
Oh, it's fine.
Oh, all right. Looks backwards to me. Oh, that's because I have my own video backwards. Okay. So this has 3 modes. The first mode is text mode, where I would type things in, tip, 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 tip with my fingers, my fat fingers. The next mode is audio mode, where I hit the little microphone. And the next mode is an interactive audio mode, where it's constantly listening. For now, we're just going to use the text mode. And I'm going to upload a photo. These are ones I got earlier just for our presentation here. I'm going to give it the prompt. You're in a house, comma. What room are you in? What do you see? What? One 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000.
5 1,000.
You look like you're in a living room, an open concept space that combines a living area with a workspace or dining area. And it does. That's very correct. A white marble or stone countertop in the foreground. That's a table. Various items like flashlight, notes, a pen, a plant, and some cables. That's true. A laptop. That's true. Obscured by a plant. Sitting area. Chairs, tables, stack of books or papers, a couch with a blanket, large windows, or sliding glass doors. See, that's the door window thing. Revealing a sunset sky and palm trees outside. Yeah, I'm in Southern California, right? A table, some cluttered tables, and on and on and on. And it even gives you analysis. It looks like a cozy but somewhat messy area. Oh, come on! This is live, guys. All right, let's send it to the next picture.
So is the concept you've driven your robot around and he knows that there are these different rooms, and then you could maybe program it to go to a room? I don't understand how it's navigating.
You're going to tell it go to the kitchen, and it's going to go until it finds the kitchen. This is
Gotcha.
zero.
Okay, I get you.
It's like a stranger going into your house and finding your kitchen without knowing even where it is.
I understand. If it could explore the room and it recognizes the rooms, you're on your way. At the very least, this solves the kidnapped robot problem.
Need a map.
So, quick question. Are you using the API for the robot side when you actually do this?
Yes, I'll be uploading from a Python program. Python will talk to both the API and the Arduino for the control of the motors.
Cool.
The code is not finished yet. I've got it in bits and pieces finished. Tune in next month for the full code, I hope. All right.
Okay.
So let's see.
What would you say the overall success rate of this is for the robot navigation?
Depends what you mean by success rate. How are you defining that?
Gets to the goal without crashing into something or getting stuck?
I haven't gotten that far. I'm still got it only little bits and pieces working at this point.
Okay.
Does it head in the right direction?
Yes, and you know, for blind people, this is a godsend. One might want to add something like this to his smart cane.
What robot are you using?
Oh, well, I'll show it to you. It's right behind me. Oh, it's upside down. Let me flip the camera around. There we go. So
Cool.
there's your tray to hold the laptop. It's on this tripod, which is attached to the robot. That's just the table there. And your Arduino is going to run on top. It's right there.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, that's a good solution.
Hey, it works. I found out this tripod has these little rubber cups at the bottom. It came with them, and I just pulled out the little balls there and put screws right into the top of the Roomba. Very convenient.
Do you call this
Anyway.
Skynet? Do you call this Skynet or ceiling net?
I don't know. We'll call it something. So the question is that I want to ask the large language model, ChatGPT, are you in the same room? So let's ask it that.
Did you
Are
want to
you
show
in the same room?
Did you want to show your screen, or how do you want to do that? Yeah, okay. It's upside down.
Yes. And it tells you the matching elements.
Okay, so different location in the room, but it recognizes that it's in the same room.
Yes, let's take a step further. And this is facing the opposite direction from the opposite end of the room. Are you in the same room? 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. Do you see the entrance door? And if so, is it on the left side of the screen or on the right side? Left side. Is it on the left?
Very nice. Excellent. Thank you very
Not
much.
always correct. How many minutes I got left, Cam?
Your time is up.
All right. That's it, everyone. Thank you very much. And
Thomas Messerschmidt, ladies and gentlemen.
And Thomas Messerschmidt needs a job, so contact me through the mailing list.
Thomas Messerschmidt runs our voice intelligence group on Thursdays. I think you're going to be on hiatus for a couple of weeks, though, but stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm working these days.
We will settle for nothing less than total world domination. Thank you very much, Thomas. That was awesome. That's awesome. That's very interesting, useful stuff. Yeah. Switch off the screen sharing, buddy. There you go. Thank you. Sergei, so sorry it's taken so long. Sergei is going to present on ROS 2 as the easiest way to program robots. Sergei Grichine, how do you say that, Sergei?
Hello, my name is Sergei Grichine. Well,
thank you very much.
I'm here in Alabama from the basement of my house, and you can see a couple of my robots here. This is Dragger. So it's a big beast with powerful motors, and it's supposed to run outdoors. He is on probation now because he bumped into my house wall, and I need to fix it a little bit. The other one is very familiar to you, probably, the TurtleBot 1, Create 1. But that's not my presentation. I mean, I just wanted to show you a couple of things I will be talking about, but that's not the essence of my presentation. So let me share the screen. Okay, I will turn off my camera so that connection will be probably a little bit better. Can you see my screen?
Ross 2, Jazzy
Yes.
made easy.
Okay. Well, this is about my personal experience in the last 6 months or so, even a little bit more. Since about June last year, I started diving into ROS 2 and basically wanted to make my robots move the same way as, for example, Camp's robot moves through the house. And basically, that's how long it is to take to master, to some extent, ROS 2. I've chosen Jazzy, which is the latest and greatest long-term support edition. My code and everything I will be talking about is in this URL that you see in the screen, robots bring up. You probably saw it in the emails that I periodically send, so just keep in mind that you can navigate to everything.
I just posted it into the chat.
Yeah, but anyway, for now, it's a good place to start. Now, a little bit about ROS Jazzy. Is it Jalisco or Jalisco? I don't know.
Jalisco.
Jalisco, yeah. It was released almost a year ago, May 24. And the selling point is that May 2029 date, that end of life. So it is supposed to be, well supported, updated till through the next 4 years or so. It requires Ubuntu 24.04 server on Raspberry Pi, for example. It's a headless configuration, or desktop on your desktop computer. And you probably want the desktop computer to be equipped with a lot of CPU, a good video card, and a big screen, just to make yourself comfortable working with it. There is also Gazebo Harmonic that comes with it. And that whole combination is important because that's the out-of-box, easy to install type of setup that you should be striving for if you want to comfortably work with ROS 2. Now, the important feature of Jazzy, or kind of phase of ROS 2 development, is that Jazzy is the first one to conform to the latest naming conventions. And Gazebo Harmonic introduced a lot of, renaming and a lot of chaos into the picture. So Jazzy is basically the first stable with good naming conventions. And that causes that all the docs, which are, the first thing that you bring up if you search Google, all those documents seem to be, wrong when it comes to pieces of code, names, and especially configuration of Gazebo. So be very careful with that. But if you are looking at Jazzy docs, that documentation is nice, current, and well organized. If you want to go with the latest, cutting edge source code, ROS always has that rolling code base, rolling GitHub branch. and you can always play with it, but I don't see any reason, to play with anything but the long-term support version of Jazzy. Now, this is the important part of my presentation. Camp usually skips a word or two when he tries to describe my topic. I'm claiming that ROS2 is the easiest way to make complex robots. And if you are making simple robots, ROS is not for you. If you are looking for the hard ways of building complex robots, there are many ways to do that, including writing them from scratch. Been there, done that. You can progress through some of that path, but you probably won't complete unless you have a huge team of developers and stuff like that. But you know that already. I'm not opening anything, for you. But read that citation from a member of our club, Michael Wimble, who is in the room now.
The Renaissance man.
He is very eloquently phrased everything that I ever thought about ROS2. So I'll let you read it and sink it into the mind.
Mike Wimble's a righteous dude.
Yeah, I agree. I follow his development with great interest. Highly recommend. Raven robot, right, Michael? Anyway, the value of ROS2 is most of the people sitting in the room here and online is in the huge collection of facilities, frameworks, supporting tools, applications that you just take out of the box and combine into something that moves, works, talks, picks up beer from the refrigerator and does everything that you want it to do, or something of it. Now, let's talk, oops, wrong button. Let's talk about ROS2 peculiarities. And this is not something that is kind of clearly understood most of time about ROS2. When we think about programming robots, we think about writing code, right? I mean, you learn Python, you learn C++, you learn any other language, and then you start programming. But there are languages and paradigms that are different from just writing the code in a progressive, imperative way, as they called. So declarative programming is an old concept, and the idea is that we tell the robot what to do, what we want it to do, and not how step by step it needs to be done. So languages like SQL, HTML, and actually many other languages, they have more or less that feel of declarative programming. Now, think about ROS2. There are three important components, and you probably will spend 99% of your, programming effort tweaking the files in these three folders and three directories here. You want to be very fluent with launch files. And launch files are the meat and the essence of your robot programming. The funny thing is that launch files, you can have them in XML, but obviously the Python launch files are encouraged most. They are not really telling how to run the robot. They are preparing the configuration file that then that configuration file is as a single piece fed to the launch component of ROS2. So keep that in mind. That's one part of the declarative programming effort that you need to have. Config folder is another one. And also, and the config folder is YAML files that tell different robot components what to do, how the robot looks like in terms of its ticks per rotation of the wheel, for example, and stuff like that. And of course, the description folder that tells the infrastructure, the ROS2 frameworks of how the components, physical components of the robot are located in space, and what are they, and how the wheels are rotating, joined to the robot and stuff like that. So the very important feature of ROS2 is ROS2 control framework. If you haven't looked at it, if you haven't understood what it is, take a good look. It's important. Controllers and broadcasters are the way to go when it comes to controlling the robot, the wheels, the actuators, anything on the robot that should be moving, should be controlled. That's done now in the current paradigm with the ROS control framework controllers. And then there are broadcasters. If you have sensors on the robot, the old way of doing that, sensing, was to put some nodes connected to the sensors individually, and then those nodes would broadcast, would publish the topics with messages. The current way of doing it is that the control framework would use device interfaces, and then standard broadcasters will take those data from the interfaces and broadcast them in a very standard and efficient way. And the whole idea is to enable a more real-time operation. So if you have a operating system that supports real-time, then ROS control framework is moving into this direction. So for example, the wheels, joints, the rotation of those wheels is broadcasted by the joint position broadcaster. And for example, battery has its own broadcaster, and ping sensors, those ultrasonic devices or any rangers in general, infrared sensors, they also have their own broadcasters. So these are two important peculiarities of ROS2 that I wanted to mention. Now, how do you start with ROS2? In the old days, you bought create one turtle bot, for example, or create 3 turtle bot. In the more current times, And it came with the code base that you can clone from GitHub and basically compile locally on your desktop and make it run using some instructions. That hasn't changed since. You still want to find some modern, hopefully, supported, hopefully, working, hopefully, bug-free, never happens, but hopefully, code base that will work for you. And the best thing to have is to be able to try it without actual hardware. So hardware is a different topic, but if you can run a gazebo simulation right out of the box after 10 minutes from the first glance of that code base, you probably found something that will help you in your ROS2 adventure. So that was my way. Obviously, I found something that I liked, and that was Articulated Robotics project by Josh Newlands. And he offered that RTQBot one template with a lot of lectures, with a lot of stuff to start with. And this is his work on the screen here. And the important part for me was that he was very current on the ROS development. At that time, it was ROS2 Humble, and it was ROS2 Humble is a terrible distribution because it relied on a very quickly changing gazebo. I don't know which one was it, but the older gazebo.
Classic.
Sim, yeah. So, I mean, when it came to Jesse, it all kind of went away, all the pains went away. But the important part is that RTQBot 1 was conforming to that latest patterns, including the control, ROS2 control framework. And it was explaining them in the tutorials and properly used them in code, which I'm grateful for that type of introduction. Otherwise, I would be traveling blind in that jungle of wrong documentation. So keep in mind, starting with a good one, a good code base is very important. So here is my cooking recipe. I hope I'm not exceeding the time allocated, or did I already?
You're doing okay.
Yeah, so sorry about it, but I mean, I'll run it fast. Copy baby pest, drill baby drill. First of all, you have to clone that your favorite code base. And you can take Lina Robot, you can take RTQBot 1 from Josh, you can take Turtlebot, go with anything that you like, that you feel comfortable with. I'm offering mine, but that's how it works. Run anything in Gazebo, explore the folders. And if you already have a robot, and if you want to run it in Gazebo and have a path of having it, programmed in that type of code base, copy and paste, for example, in my case, robot Plucky folder, rename it, and then tweak the 3 magical folders in the robots folder. So, and make your robot run in Gazebo. That's a pretty easy exercise. It might become complicated in the future when you start kind of programming your own hardware and connecting all that code base with your own hardware. But yet again, the framework, the control framework is very helpful in that respect. Here are my 3 robots, Turtle, Plucky, and Dragger. They all have different kind of different hardware, but they have a lot in common. And you can see they're all differential drive. They have LiDAR, and they have Raspberry Pis on top of them, Wi-Fi, and everything else. So let's go to demonstrations. Sorry. Okay. And here is I'm running turtle simulation. And it is really as easy. You can have it if you already have Ubuntu and RosJazzy installed on your computer. You can have that same picture within about 10 minutes after cloning the code base that I'm offering. So it's that easy, making a single command and, you know, it's running. And of course, it is all described. So what you see here is, let me make it bigger. You can see that a turtle, a robot, and you can see the same in RVs. Who is familiar with RVs, you know what I'm talking about, right? Now I have to go to a different machine now, and that's just peculiarity of my setup. And I can do this. And now I ran nav2 package. And you see there is a coast map, everything that we like to see when Camp demonstrates his robot. And obviously there is a way of detecting all the walls. You see there are 2 walls here. So, and if I click on nav goal here, and I want the robot to go here and to stand, you see the robot starts turning, the wheels are turning, and here is the path that is nav2 planned, and here is actual path that the robot took. And yet again, you can have this same screen, you know, this same robot in Gazebo in about 10 minutes after you clone the repository. Now, okay, I don't like this guy, the old turtle. Can I do something else? Can I run another robot? I'm running Dragger now. And oops, here is Dragger. Now, because Dragger is supposed to run outdoors, you can see an aerial map here. And you can see an open space here, which the robot will navigate because of, you know, peculiarities of navigation package and behavior trees and stuff like that. I won't go into the detail here. Okay, and by the way, when it comes to Gazebo here, of course, we have a differently shaped robot. which you already saw in flash behind my chair at the beginning of presentation. Can I still have another 5 minutes for demonstration?
Yeah, let's try and wrap it up, okay?
Okay, just very quickly.
This is awesome, Sergey. This is just awesome. Good stuff.
Thank you, Cam. I think so too, you know?
Definitely.
Well, I hope it is helpful. I don't care
Very
if
cool.
it's awesome or not, you know, I mean, it's a very basic work of organizing the folders in
I,
a,
for one, am impressed.
but you know, when it comes to the value, I think if it helps one person to start that ROS2 journey, I think I will be happy.
Well, and it sounds like Jazzy with its harmonic gazebo simulation is really the way to go and kind of a fresh start.
It's a way to go. You know, it's a long conversation, but think about long-term support and everything else.
I got an email from Lena.
Being bug-free. I mean, there are so many dragons hiding in the old.
I got an email from Juan Miguel with Leno Robot, and they're updating it to Jazzy and Harmonic.
It's inevitable if you want to have your work, you know, kind of going, not die, you know, you have to stay calm. But anyway, this is Plucky now, and it's the same, you know, same repository, but very different configuration, physical configuration of the robot. And a lot of common code and very few tweaked files in those 3 folders. Anyway, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Any questions? Sorry for taking too much time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the new ROS2 control framework you're talking about, because I haven't got into that, and the broadcasters, and what I inherited from, I'm still on an older version, Iron, going to upgrade some point, but you know, most of the things I have are nodes, and they publish. I guess that's the older system, but the newer system. I guess did it come with Jazzy, the newer, or it came recently, and is it does it have advantages over the old publish system, or the old publish on topics system?
Well, as for the history of ROS2 control, I think it is present in Humble, in Iron. It has a long history, long enough history. So Jazzy just has a better organized documentation, and it is kind of properly used when it comes to many documented examples. When it comes to advantages, think about real time and think about how inefficient ROS in general and ROS2, I mean, historically is in terms of using CPU. It relies for multiprocessing, it relies on running nodes in different processes of the operating system. I mean, from the point of view of wasting your CPU resources, it's just crazy. ROS2 control framework allows to organize that flow of control messages and broadcasted sensor messages, organizes it in a bit kind of more rational way. And you can read about ROS2 control. I highly recommend it. But the problem is if you already have a lot of code in the old paradigm and the program as nodes and, you know, broadcasting the individual messages, it's kind of a painful way of converting it to the ROS2 control. So it's your choice.
Life is suffering.
Yeah, so
yeah.
bringing a new sensor over, or bringing an old sensor over to the new system, like my M1 SlamTech mapper code, might be a little bit of work, I guess, but that might be worth it.
So what's important to remember about ROS2 control, we actually had ROS1 control back in the day, is that ROS2 control is intended for the safety critical real-time layer of your code base. So the general thing about like the SLAM and the sensor and stuff, that would probably want to be in topic land and in ROS land. Whereas when you're doing something like a PID loop or something which is really safety critical, I would do it that layer. Also remember, ROS2 control can only really pass back and forth doubles. It's not intended to pass like numerical doubles. I mean, it's not intended to pass like camera photos and large messages. So that's generally the rule with control. So just FYI. Also for ROS people, I just wanted to mention, I wanted to thank you for your talk. You did excellent talk. Great points, but there's a ROS by the Bay meetup out here tomorrow. So if anyone wants to do ROS stuff, go tomorrow. I'll ping the list when I get home.
ROS2 control doesn't interface with any other. It doesn't necessarily require underlying real-time operating systems, does it, Tony?
No, it doesn't.
Right, but so then, you're going to encounter problems later on if you don't have those systems in place to make sure that the thing is somewhat real-time.
You can't hear him.
So ROS2 control tries to become real time. So if you have a real time Linux installed with the right configuration, it will try to become.
Hear you. That microphone's not working, guys.
They're not working too well.
Can't hear anything.
This one. Okay, but the
that's good.
Things like your networking also needs to be real time, and there's no interface with the networking, is there?
What do you mean by the networking?
Well, if you have a sensor and it's transmitting over Ethernet, and that's not real time, right?
Yes. Well, yeah. Yes, the code the binary will run as real time. That doesn't guarantee it can talk to everything in real time.
Right.
That just means that the control loop is running in real time.
Yeah, or it's attempting to run in real time if the underlying
OS is in real time.
OS and everything else is real time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the actual yes.
Quick question though, like which one do you use to control your robot?
So what we've got on this robot is ROS2 Jazzy. And we will release, by the way, a ROS2 Jazzy distribution for the Raspberry Pi. So that is imminent. And we are using the Zeno message passing framework in this. So things like the motor controller uses Zeno Pico, but you actually transmit a ROS2 message all the way to the motor controller.
You mean it doesn't even use micro ROS or anything? I like mine sends messages from the micro ROS agent or from ROS2 to the micro ROS agent to the micro ROS on the Arduino.
Yeah, so if you're using micro ROS, you're going to use a DDS XRCE. So there's no DDS XRCE, and there's no because you on this robot design, you don't have that split between DDS XRCE and DDS. You just have Zeno running across the whole framework from which is Zeno is one of the options for your underlying message passing system in Jazzy. It's available in Jazzy. So that's another change that's important in Jazzy, is that you can run Zeno across the message passing framework. And Zeno is a lot more lightweight than DDS.
Oh.
So that means then you can have Zeno, as an equal partner running across the whole framework right down to the motor controller. So you don't need to have any of these sort of DDS XRC gateways or anything like that.
I'm not familiar with the DDS XRC, or I just don't know how that ties in, but does the agent, the thing I call the MicroROS agent, does that have to bridge between DDS and DDS XRC?
That's what it's doing. So your MicroROS agent, you're taking DDS messages and then you're bridging that to DDS XRCE, whereas that doesn't exist in this robot design. You just have Zeno across the whole framework, and you're passing Zeno messages everywhere.
Okay, but I mean, something has to send it across the serial bus. If I assume there's some piece there.
Yeah, so you have a Zeno router, or you can have a Zeno edge node doing that, but that's the same as for everything else. It's the same thing that's communicating across your whole framework. So yes, there is something, but it's you don't have a special MicroROS part of the system, and DDS XRCE part of the system, and DDS part of the system. You just have Zeno across the whole system. So single message passing framework for the whole system.
Sounds better, more efficient.
Yeah, and Zeno is just generally lighter weight anyway, so that's why we went in that direction.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions for Sergei or possibly David here? All right. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Are you not entertained?
Yay.
All righty. I'll call.
Thank you, guys.
I'd like to motion that this meeting be adjourned.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question or comment or want to say something? Oh, we got Tuesdays. We got Ross discussion group. Penultimate Wednesdays, we got the builders group. I think the voice VigSig is going to be out for a couple of weeks, but a lot of stuff going on. We got the mailing list, build those homebrewed robots. We got our HBRC challenge coming up in March. Maybe a botnik coming up. They'll have the robot block party. Ross by the Bay. When is that? Tomorrow evening, right?
Where is it? Google Trail, which is across from the San Antonio Caltrain. So if you're going basically San Antonio and Alma/Central Expressway.
Thank you very much. Okay, motion the meeting be adjourned. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned. We're in random access now. We'll hang out until security guards kick us